Hey guys, my name is Teresa and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and welcome to my channel. Today's video I am focusing on the spotlight on nature. I just was not ready to put it up for fall. Kept looking at it and I thought I could use this stamped image, the leaves, and use some fall colors and make some fall cards. So that's what this video is all about. I typically use multiple stamp sets to create a card. I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck when I'm using multiple stamp sets, but I'm gonna try and stick to just using this one and we'll see how it goes. So we'll got that put aside. The embellishments that I'm gonna be using is the Natural Tones linen thread, and that is found in the mini catalog. If you've not seen it yet, take a look at it. You'll get 3 in a pack. This is copper clay, which is what we're going to be using on today's cards. It also comes with Night of Navy and Garden Green. And if you love the linen thread that you can find in the annual catalog, then you're going to want to get these because it's the same thickness, texture, all of that, just different colors. So I'm really happy they brought out more colors of the linen thread because I really enjoy using that. The other embellishment that I plan on using is also found in the mini catalog, and it's got the real pretty fall colors, and I thought that will really go well with the colors that I picked for today's video. This is called, depending I guess on where you're located, fall glass dots or faux glass dots. I don't know what I typically call it. I think I call it both, but we may end up using that after I start putting the card together. I may decide that I don't like it, but we'll play it by ear and see what happens. So the colors that I'm going to be using, and actually I don't even think I mentioned the technique yet. We're going to make 4 cards using one 8.5 by 11 card sheet. This is very vanilla. I quite honestly don't know what the technique's called. I call it stamped one sheet wonder. There's probably other names out there, but that's what I'm calling it, at least for today's video. The card base is done in Cajun Craze, and it is a 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4, and I went on and scored that. I'm gonna put that aside, get that out of the way. Then the mat is done in Peach Pie, and that measures 5 1/4 by 4. So get that out of the way. So the one sheet wonder is done in the very vanilla, and if you've not done this technique, there's lots of videos out there on how to do it. Lots of people tend to use flowers, and I did not want to use flowers for this video, so we'll see how it all turns out. But what you'll want to do is stamp images in a I'm gonna say in a plus. So you'll go down the middle and then you'll go across, basically creating a big old plus. Now the way to do it is I'm going to start on the landscape side. I'm using the Stampin' Up grid paper instead of my glass mat. The grid paper, I don't know if you can see it, but it has the 0 in the center, and then it's 1, 2, 3, so on going out. So I'm going to use, focusing on the 0, finding what my middle point is, which is right here. So some people will actually get a ruler out. That's fine. You guys do whatever is more comfortable. Using your ruler at 11 inches, going up at the top at 11 inches. I'll just show you how some people do it. Get a pencil that writes light, not like a real dark one, and then at your midpoint, which is at the 5.5, just put a little tick mark right there, and then go down at the bottom and do the exact same thing. Find your halfway point, put a little tick mark there. It should be covered up by the time you're doing all your stamping, but if you happen to see it, just remember to erase the tick marks. Then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to turn your paper portrait and find, I know that the middle point is at 4 1/4, so I'm using the Stampin' Up grid paper, and I know that 4 1/4 is here and here. So my middle is right this little tick mark here. I'm going to slide it up just a little bit, use the bottom, and I know that that is the center. Or you can use your ruler and find the center, 4 1/4, right there, right where that tick mark was. So whatever you're more comfortable using. So I'm going to put it back to landscape just because I want to start that way. So what we're going to do is, as I mentioned, we're going to stamp down the center, and I'm going to flip it and do the same thing down the center. All right, so let's get started. Let me put this back on the middle because I'm going to try to use my grid paper here. So I like to start with the largest image first, and it's going to be this leaf. Okay, and I'm using, get some of this stuff out of the way. I am using Cajun Craze. And let's see, I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. And the way I'm going to use full strength, ink it, and then stamp directly on the paper. And I just dipped it in some ink. Just a second here, clean that up. Oh, got some on my thumb. I'm going to end up putting it on the paper. What I want to do is stamp different directions. I don't want to go just in a straight line, so you want to keep kind of going back and forth. And that's okay if the stamp images overlap. That's kind of part of, you know, when you create your own DSP, the stamped images overlap, and that's what you want. So I'm doing it off the page. Can't see it. Here we go. I'm going to stamp off the page. And that's okay that it overlaps. Now I need to bring it down a little bit. Trying to make sure it's in camera. And turn it just a little bit. And you can see how it's overlapped, and that's okay. And I'm just going to go take it all the way up. I just absolutely love how this stamps. Whoever designed this, kudos. It's a beautiful stamp set. All right, so that looks really good, and you can see where it's crossed. I may have to come back down here later, but I'll worry about it. And I just put ink there, but that's okay. I'm thinking we can probably cut that off. So turning it portrait, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work my way up, starting in that center point, and do zigzag and just overlap. And I'm going to do, I'll do right there. Same thing, I'm going to flip it, work my way up. There we go. And you can tell, you can see where I'm making that plus. I'll probably have to go back in there and fill that up, but I'm going to wait. All right, so let me clean this off real good because I got ink all over the block, and I'm afraid I'll end up touching it and getting ink everywhere. You know, blue normally is the color that I end up getting all over my fingers, but Cajun Craze may be coming in second place. I don't know. Well, I'm checking my fingers off camera to make sure I don't have any more on there. So my next largest is this hashtag stripes, whatever you want to call it, background. And that is done in peach pie. And again, I'm going to stagger how I'm stamping it. I'm going to do it full strength. And just wherever there's space is where I'm going to put it. Just keep zigzagging. You may have to flip your paper over, and that's good because that helps you get different directional stamping. Just keep spinning it around. It's really fun. It's a fun technique. I feel like there's one that's over there. Okay, so I probably need one down in here. And that's okay if the different images overlap each other. It's nothing wrong with that. All right, I think that's good for now. Again, still keeping that cross. I feel like I need something down here, but I'm gonna wait and see. So let me clean this off real good so I don't dip my fingers in it. You ever have those days where you just can't help yourself but end up getting ink all over you? And I think today's gonna be one of those days for me. All right, so the other background is the little splattered that you can see here, this little one. And I'm gonna do full strength and stamp off. So I'm actually stamping twice before inking up, if that makes sense, before re-inking. So, let's see. So I'll start here, full strength. Again, I'm turning it and stamping off. Full strength, and then just keep flipping it over. Try my best not to put full strength next to full strength and vice versa, but you know, it may end up that way by the time you're filling in, and I don't think it's going to be noticeable. No one's going to say, aha, you put two full strength patterns together. I don't think they're going to do that. They're just going to say, wow, that is so pretty. See, I just put two there together. All right, there. Let's see. Flipping it around. I think I need it there. And once I cut down this sheet, I may have to go back and add a little bit more, which will not be an issue to kind of fill it in once you cut it down. I think that's actually good. All right, I need to stop. Stop. I can't help it. I feel like I need to put it one more place, right? Let's do right there. Okay, now I think I'm done. All right. That looks really good. Even with that smudge, that looks really great. All right, so now the next step is I want to cut this full sheet down, and I want to cut it in half to create 4 of the pieces. So I'm going to get my trimmer out. And what you want to do is, I'll just cut here. So I want to cut at the 5.5. So find my 5.5 right here, and then just cut down, cut the middle. All right. And then turn it, and you want to find the 4 1/4 and cut down. All right, and there's your 2 pieces. Put that off to the side. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Find the 4 1/4 and trim. And there you go. So now, the next step, let me just put this together. I think you guys can get the idea, where I've just cut down, just down the middle. So now what's next is, because I have a mat that measures 5 1/4 by 4, I need to cut these down even further, and I need to cut them down to 5 by 3 3/4, because I want the card base to flip up instead of, I guess, portrait. I want to make it landscape. So I'm just for ease of the video, I'm going to just cut down 2 of them. But you'll get the idea. You want to do them on all 4. So let's just, I guess, let's just do these 2. Get these 2 out of the way. And after filming, I'll cut these down, and this, because I want to save this card, I may end up cutting it shorter than the 5 by 3 3/4, but we'll see. All right, so move this off to the side as a reminder. So obviously, because you want to cut it down, you don't want to cut into the flowers, so you want to cut into the I'm gonna call it white space, even though it's very vanilla, but you wanna cut this part off because there's nothing there, obviously, and I think that makes sense. So bring my trimmer back out and want to make sure that I don't cut, so my waist is gonna be cut on this side. So I'm gonna put this to 3 3/4. Putting this, I can't line it up, there we go. So I'm cutting that away. There's my waist. And then turning it, really these actually look good, but I think I'm gonna cut this down a little bit. So I'm going to flip it over because I'm gonna cut this away, and I want to make this at 5. I'm really not cutting that much off, but, and there we go. So put that aside. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one. I think you guys can get the idea, but let me just go ahead and do another one. So I'm gonna cut it down to 3 3/4. Get rid of that waist, and wow. Let's see, I think I'm gonna cut this away. So cut this at 5. And we are done trimming. Put that in my drawer. Wow, this one looks really good. All right, so you got this one, and then you have this one. And you have to look at it to see, you know, do you need to add any more flowers or whatnot? Not flowers, but any more stamped images. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to work on this one, and I am going to add, just looking at it, I want to put some stuff down here, so I think I'm going to bring out the Cajun. I'm just going to make one card for the video, but you guys can get the idea of how to do all that. So I'm going to get this one out of the way, and I'm going to bring my leaf back. Look at that. There's just ink everywhere. I don't understand. I have a new nemesis with ink, I guess, and it's called Cajun Craze. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink that up right there. I'm not doing the whole stamp image there, but I'm just going to put it right there. That looks good. And I think I might sneak one in there. We'll see what that does. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, that's good. All right, I'm gonna put this Cajun Craze away, get it out away from me so I don't touch that ink. All right, so next, let's see, maybe a little bit more peach pie, maybe 1 or 2. So bringing that out again, and I'll put it here and here and maybe here. I think that's good right there. All right. Sometimes when you're doing these one sheet wonders like this, you gotta force yourself not to look at it too hard or too long, because by the time you're done, you've got everything inked up, and sometimes you just gotta walk away from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some more Lost Lagoon full strength and stamp off, if you will, just a couple different places, just so you can see it. And I think that's good. Stop. There we go. I think that's it, don't you think? I think that'll work. All right, we're done with that. So now I want to stamp a sentiment, and I'm going to go ahead, sticking with one stamp set. I'm going to stamp in, what am I using? Early Espresso, and I'm going to stamp Dear Friend. And let's see, I'm going to probably put it right in there. So ink that up, use my grid to line up, and let's see. Trying to think of all the 2 embellishments that I want to use, so I think I'm going to put you down here a little bit. That's even. There we go. All right, we're done with that. Okay, so now I think we are ready to assemble. So again, the Cajun Craze is the card base. And I already folded and burnished that. And the Peach Pie is going to be the matte. So let's go ahead and get my glue and glue that down. Put that on my piercing mat so I don't lose it. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Oh, it's clogged, of course. I forgot to check it before turning the video on. There we go. Okay, so lining that up. There we go. Now, before I glue it down, I'm going to see if this works. I'm going to do the linen thread, and I think I'm going to wrap it twice. Let's see. Try to do the bow right in there. We'll just see what happens. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, but we shall see. And wrap it around twice. And I want it a little bit longer. Get my ribbon snips. Now, a trick before I tie this, I'm going to get, I wish I remembered which demonstrator. It's one good thing, not good thing, but it is a good thing. One of the benefits being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is the fellow demonstrators are so good about showing you tips and tricks. They just have an open heart, and I think that was one of the several reasons I decided to join Stampin' Up! Because everybody lifts everybody else up, and it's a great community, and we need more of them, and I'm happy that they're sharing tips and tricks because I need them. But this one, and I wish I remembered which demonstrator, to tie bows, sometimes they get away from you, is get a mini dot and kind of roll it. I'm going to try my best to roll it before I take it off, but I may have to use my fingers there. And you know, I use my tweezers, so you can tell you don't want to squeeze too hard because it'll end up sticking to you, and the oils from your finger will not make it sticky. So you can see where I've rolled it, right? I think you guys can see in the camera, okay? So holding it, I'm going to, let's see if I can get this on camera. I'm going to kind of sort of line it up, and I'm going to tie it. I want it about right here. I'm going to pull on it, and I want to tie the bow about right there. So I'm going to take that mini dot, and I'm going to stick it. I need another hand here. I'm going to stick it right underneath there. Place it on there, and then I'm going to tie it tighter, push down on it so it sticks. And there you go. So you don't have to struggle. Some people use tweezers and hold it, but I just thought that was a good trick, and it just helps when you're trying to tie a bow. So then you can easily tie a bow. Now sometimes, like what I'm going to do right now, I'll use my tweezers to pull the loop through, and then as you're trying to fix the bow, just keep it real loose until you know that's like where you want it, and then just tighten it. Put your thumb or index finger on that knot, hold down, and then slowly push to shorten your loops however you want. And I think that's really good. I probably had extra long, but that's okay. I'd rather have more linen thread than not enough to tie a bow, considering I'm doing this on camera. And this is looped through. I'm trying to pull it through. There we go. All right, so get my ribbon snips and then just snip away. All right, I think that looks great. Let me slide that in there. All right, I just thought that was a great trick. Some of you may have other tricks. of tying that, but I found that really works. So, all right, so we're gonna put that on, and then I think I'm gonna be able to use the faux dots. Yes, I think, oop, a little bit more glue. I'll wipe that off. All right, that looks great. All right, so let's see. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use, I'm pretty sure that's copper clay. I'm not sure they actually list the colors anymore. They used to list the colors on the back, but they've not done that. So we're just gonna say that that is copper clay. And I think I'm just gonna put some down there. So let's see. Do one here. I think I'm just going to do 3. I'll line that up as best I can. Oop, that's not my best. There we go. And then this one. I think that's even. Does that look even? That looks even. How about that? All right. I'm not going to do the other cards on camera. I think you guys got the idea of the technique and how, you know, after you cut down the very vanilla, that you may have to go back and add some more of the image, but you just kind of do what you think's best. Here are the others, and off camera I'll go ahead and this is the one I cut down. I'll go ahead and cut these other ones down, and then finish up making 3 cards. I'll have 3 additional cards ready for fall. So I really love how it turned out, considering I didn't plan this ahead of time other than what was in my head, and I think it turned out really well. And I love that I didn't use flowers and that I used the stamp set, because it's just beautiful, beautiful stamped image. So I'm glad I was able to use that leaf. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this technique, and I've enjoyed it. It's fun when I'm creating multiple cards like that. It's just very therapeutic for me, and I enjoy it. So you guys have a wonderful day. Happy stamping to all of you, and I hope you have a fabulous week. Take care.